NFL news, long presumed, now confirmed. Aaron Rodgers is a Steeler. More than 80 days after the start of free agency and 10 weeks after first visiting the team, the four-time MVP and Pittsburgh agreed to a one-year deal. Rodgers will join in time for next week's mandatory minicamp, which opens Tuesday. Oh, by the way, the Steelers' first regular season opponent, the Jets. The helmet Rodgers is wearing right there. That's a big old update to the Fowler Files for this week. We're here to download all the info. Jeremy Fowler. Jeremy, 41 years old is Aaron Rodgers, turns 42 in December. What do the Steelers assume they're getting with the veteran QB?
Well, Phil, they do believe that they get the best field vision from a quarterback that they've had since Ben Roethlisberger, that he can solve problems for them at the line of scrimmage. They haven't really had that. He can get solutions and figure things out with his mind. They believe he still has plus arm strength. They know the mobility is an issue. Like, they're not hiding from that. So the offensive line is going to have to be good. But in Rodgers' talks with the Steelers, they were sure that he's been keeping in good shape. He's been training out in L.A. He has been preparing to play coming into town really any day now to get ready for minicamp. They also believe, the Steelers, that their receivers are young, hungry, and smart. They believe that's a good fit with what Rodgers likes, because he does all that line of scrimmage, hand signal stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they got to get on the same page, so they have to be smart.
And one of those workouts in L.A. was with DK Metcalf at UCLA, so building the rapport even before he officially put pen to paper. Kirk Cousins, the possible backup plan for Rodgers in Pittsburgh if that didn't work out. So the natural trickle down, what's next for Cousins?
This hurts. I mean, there's no other way around it. There's not a quarterback available job or a path for Cousins to go somewhere else and start right now. So there was probably a hope from his camp that, like, hey, if something were to happen to Rodgers, if he decided to retire, maybe the Steelers would make some sort of move, or at least call the Lamar to see what it would cost. So right now, there's not a lot of movement. You know, you got the New Orleans Saints out there. They've got some young quarterbacks where they need to make a move, but they're in division. So Atlanta's probably not going to want to do that. So there are two paths for the Falcons and Cousins here. You either ride this out, you pay him that money, that $27.5 million in guaranteed salary this year, or you wait till maybe there's an injury in training camp, maybe somebody gets hurt. That opens an avenue for Cousins for potential deal. But right now, like, this has been really slow to the point where maybe in March, if there was a team that was willing to make some sort of move like the Cleveland Browns before they added a gazillion quarterbacks to their quarterback room, that would have made a lot of sense. As one source told me, if the Falcons were willing to take like $7 or $8 million on an offset deal, then this would have got done probably. But Atlanta wants somebody to cover a large portion of that contract. That's been the issue. Still a lot of guaranteed dollars to soften the blow for Cousins.
Jeremy, an injury we're keeping an eye on right now, Anthony Richardson in that shoulder. What's the potential this could linger into training camp for the QB?
It could linger. The plan right now is for rest. So Anthony Richardson reported to the team he had some agitation, some inflammation in that shoulder stemming from that AC joint injury he had in 2023. They got some scans done. They got noted surgeon Neil Elitrosh involved. He's the one who did the surgery 2 years ago. So talking to the people from the team and player side, I don't get a sense that there's a major concern of anything structural or long-term right now, but it is a slippery slope with shoulder injuries that could linger. So they're hopeful that with rest, that he will be fully ready for training camp come the start of it for that quarterback battle with Daniel Jones. Part of it is Richardson has been going pretty hard this offseason, been throwing a lot. He's getting ready for this battle, and then now he gets some soreness. So not major right now, but it's something that could linger.
And Chris Ballard was not shy about using the word competition when talking about the QB.
Steelers mandatory minicamp begins Tuesday. Aaron Rodgers will be in camp under center for the black and yellow. Rodgers finally agreed to a one-year deal for reportedly $10 million plus incentives. No word yet on what number he's going to wear, but the debate has already begun on what kind of QB is the Steelers getting in the 41-year-old Rodgers. So let's bring in our senior NFL writer, Jeremy Fowler, to get those answers. So you got Rodgers. He will be in camp. He's 41. What do the Steelers believe he provides to their offense?
Well, talking to people with the team, Brian, the Steelers believe they're getting the best vision pocket passer since Ben Roethlisberger, that he can see the field better than what they've had in recent years. They believe that will result into more easy yards. They still believe he has plus arm strength. In fact, talking to some of the Jets coaches that were with him last year, they believe that he was better than what the stats show, that he can still deliver at a high level if you can get around the mobility issues. Clearly not what it was. The Steelers know that, but Rodgers has informed the team this offseason when they've been talking that he's stayed in good shape. He's been training out in all offseason to get ready for professional football. The Steelers also believe their young receivers are young, hungry, and smart. They think that that will coalesce well with what Rodgers typically wants, because we know he's demanding on those guys. He's got the hand signals, the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to get on the same page quickly.
Okay, so let's stay in the division because the Ravens GM Eric DeCosta shared that Lamar Jackson and the team are in the what they call the introductory stage about an extension. Help me clear this up because if I'm not mistaken, he just signed, what was it, 5 years, $260 million, couple of seasons. Why are they negotiating a possible extension?
Yeah, so this is interesting. He has several years left on his contract, but the Ravens are essentially saying, we're trying to get in front of this massive quarterback money. This is a ballooning market. It's at $60 million for the top guys. It's going to go beyond that. And so the Ravens are taking a page out of what the Bills did this offseason with Josh Allen. Josh Allen had several years left on his deal. They try to get in front of things. Let's give you a big raise, about 30%, close to that per year. They gave him a new 6-year, $330 million contract back in March. So the Ravens would love to do that because when you have a short list of players at the quarterback spot that you know are the best, you got Joe Burrow, you got Josh Allen, you got Patrick Mahomes, and you certainly have Lamar Jackson. So they want to get that settled long term. The thing is, he's a shrewd negotiator. He showed that last time. He's willing to play this out, make the team uncomfortable, play on the franchise tag like we saw in the past. So I don't think he's just going to take the first deal they offer. There's going to be some back and forth here.
Keep in mind, it did take 27 months of challenging negotiations.
Short games. It take like 2 hours and 20 minutes for them to play. Finally, if I said Shedeur Sanders is going to become the starting quarterback in Cleveland this year, is that ridiculous?
No, that's not ridiculous. And look, it's going to be incumbent upon this coaching staff to give him a path to really earn that. If they give him enough reps and he has enough opportunities and gets put in enough situations, I think his skill set is such that he can compete with anybody on that roster in the quarterback room. As a matter of fact, he can probably, just one-for-one, man-for-man, beat out anybody on that roster. It's going to be about opportunity, O'Grady. We all know this, so we'll see how they wind up giving him that opportunity.
Kmart, no one knows the AFC North like you know that division. What are you hearing the early returns on Shedeur and Cam?
Listen, in that building, there are people who believe Shedeur can 100% be the starter of this football team. You said it's incumbent upon the Browns to put him in a situation. It's also incumbent upon Shedeur to do the work, which talking to people in that building, they have said he is soaking up everything like a sponge in the QB rooms, talking to Flacco, wanting to learn. And also, let's not forget Dillon Gabriel. Spent a lot of time talking about Shedeur, but Dillon Gabriel is a guy who's drafted in the third. One source said to me, he is everything you want in a quarterback. He's just small. If he were a little taller, a lot of people would be looking at Dillon Gabriel a little differently. At least that's how they feel in their building. So they have a very interesting quarterback situation, and Shedeur has a path.
What is your sense, Peter?
Well, Kimberly's actually there in the spring, which I respect, and you had a feel for that. I am watching from afar and also texting people there that he has been everything you can ask for in a young quarterback coming in as a fifth-round pick. I also know it's a huge uphill climb to expect a fifth-round pick to get the same reps as a Joe Flacco or a Kenny Pickett, or even that guy in front of him, Dillon Gabriel. I thought Mike Tannenbaum made a great point on Monday on this show saying, hey, look, as much as the clock is not on him, it is kind of still on all these quarterbacks in that they have the Jacksonville pick next year in the first round, and they have their own pick in the first round. And you already start thinking about 2026, this rich quarterback draft. You say, okay, well, you've got time to prove it in training camp, but you're going to have to see and prove to those coaches that you're the guy moving forward if you're going to tell them that they can't draft a quarterback in the first round with those two picks.
You know what's interesting about that? Like, I understand, like, personnel people and fans always get enamored about what's next down the road. When they're talking about draft picks and potential guys coming out next year, like, people are now sitting there going, hey, man, maybe we can get Drew Allen from Penn State, and he would be the answer. He would be the one. How about this focus on the present and trying to, like, develop in some of the guys that you have on your roster right now? Shedeur Sanders, we've all watched him play football. We all know kind of what happened in the draft. We all know about the stories. We also know about how efficient this kid was as a football player on the football field. We know how good Dillon Gabriel looked at Oregon. We know how good he looked at Oklahoma. I saw him play multiple times there. Just focus on that. If it comes to the point where you then have to, like, go ahead and lean on that draft capital you have next year and maybe a favorable draft position, then address it then. I just hate when the conversation switches like that.
Fifth round pick, they have zero investment in him. They have their names are not on this. If we took them as a value, if it was a first or second round pick, that's my guy. I want to see this work.
Yeah.
So the sense I get in that building is something catastrophic, crazy would have to happen for Shedeur not to be on this roster. They believe in the talent, but again, and so far, I was there rookie camp. He said to me, I am not here to prove anybody wrong. I just have to prove myself right. It is on him to do the work and prove that he should be in the mix.
The world is a fun